That's right. Absolutely. So now as we prepare for our second guest, as always, I let Skyler do the honors of telling you who we have coming up.
We have Freedove, and oh my God, is a friend of mine, and she used to live here in the Bay, and now she lives in Brooklyn, and she's just traveling the world, going to Brazil, going to Russia, and everywhere, and we're just happy to have Freedove today, and you're going to love her music and her spirit, and it's going down all the ways on the SNR network. Yes.
All right, well, then go ahead and give you a portion of her bio, and then we'll bring her on. Freedove believes music sets the soul in flight. Emerging from the Crescent City, New Orleans, this esoteric singer, songwriter, producer combines a melange of funk, rock, blues, and gospel. She proudly serves up in her own mind in a musical gumbo she dubs funk and soul. The New Orleans-bred vocalist has trekked the international globe, singing on worldwide stages and lending her voice to various recordings with artists such as Duran Duran, MC Lyte, The Wild Magnolias, Busta Rhymes, Zayn, Cyril Neville, A.J. Lauria, Russia Superstar, Philip Kirkorov, I hope I said it right, DJ Smash, Joe Batten, and others. She is currently recording After the Fire, a musical mosaic that reflects her personal experiences and beautifully explores a range of emotional and spiritual themes that do indeed signal a new beginning for this particular artist. And with that being said, we certainly welcome to the show our second guest of the evening, Freedove. Hello, welcome.
Hello, Freedove, are you there? Hello, push one, push the number one.
All right, you guys, I'm here. Can you hear me now?
We can hear you.
Yes.
Welcome.
All right, you guys had me cracking up with that applause at the beginning.
What did you?
Yeah.
Did you get through the crowd all comfortable and everything like that? I know there's a lot of people stepping on your feet and all that.
I'm so happy to be here, you guys. Thanks for having me on the show.
Oh, thanks for coming on.
Sure.
This is so cool. Meet Denise Newton. You guys didn't get to meet in person.
Yes. Hi. How are you?
I'm great, thanks. It's a pleasure to have you tonight.
Likewise, I'm happy to be here.
Wow! Wow! You've been doing some traveling around here, girlfriend.
Yeah, I gotta say that I have. I gotta say that I have. New Orleans is home. It's always been home. It's kind of like I was in, like you said earlier, I was in the Bay Area, during the time of the Hammer days and the Hammer heyday, and then just recently, just last year, I went to Russia and I did a residency for about 4 months. Then I went to Brazil for another month. Then after that, I decided to go back home and finish recording my album and just taking in all that music and the culture. And it was better that I did anyway because I was always there. I was there 3-4 times a year because I love home so much. But New York is like my lover, but New Orleans is like my love. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
So, I love traveling, and I love being able to travel and do what I love. I was telling a friend of mine about a week ago that it's such a blessing, to be able to do what you love and have your gift have you see the world, because not many people are fortunate enough to do that. So I feel really blessed every time I get to just get on a stage and just share my voice and my music with people. So, yeah.
Wow. Hey, you know what? So traveling out of the country, and obviously you're doing your own music, right?
Yeah. Some of those dates I'm doing my own music, and some of them are just regular club dates and performances. It just really varies. It depends on what the gig is. It might be backing up somebody on, background vocals. It might be doing my own show, or it might be just doing a pub or a club or a private event or whatever, whatever it is, as long as it's music, and good music.
That's really important, the good music part.
Yeah, very important. Oh, don't get me started on that. But, we'll get to that. That's newly defined these days, of course, but that's subjective, So, yeah.
Tell me this, so, I mean, our culture has changed, right? And what do you think about, all this electronic kind of digital kind of music, as opposed to performing with real human beings?
Ooh, I got to tell you the truth. I've done them both at certain times, and I think it all has its place. Like electronic music especially is really big in Europe, some parts of the UK. But I think nothing takes the place of just getting on a stage with musicians and having that chemistry and that energy coming from each individual and everybody contributing to the whole and making that one piece of music, that one piece of magic. I mean, I've been so blessed to, play with some of the most awesome musicians. And I always find that I'm always, no matter what, and when I'm on stage, I'm always learning something new or pushing myself more or being inspired by somebody else. But back to your question, I think mainly because, it has its place. I think it can be good and it can be bad. The flip and bad side can be that everybody feels like they can make music, with GarageBand. The good side is being that record labels are pretty much dying down. I think there's only four big conglomerates left. Because they're dying down, it kind of puts artistry and creative control back into the artist's hands. So an artist can go ahead and make their music and go ahead and distribute it and have control over that and do so in a way that's more economical for them because they firstly don't have that backing of the major label. So it can be beneficial, and then it can also be detrimental to real music, So I think both sides have their place, electronic music versus live music. Electronic music for me, I think, is best, when I'm making a playlist to go jogging or something, Electronic music can really get you going, It can get you going if you just pump it up real loud and get going. But seriously, I think both sides have their place in music, especially as culture's changing. Everybody wants it fast food and, really quick and fast. Mm-hmm. But I don't think there'll ever be anything that will substitute live musicianship. It won't feel the same. There's something spiritual about the live music experience.
But what I'm saying is okay, what do you prefer the most?
Definitely live music. Definitely. Hands down.
Human beings.
Yes, definitely.
Because, that feeling under your feet.
Ooh, that makes you move. And then, I know all about it. I know all about it.
Right. I'm it's nothing like feeling that presence of the bass amp, right?
Yeah, or that guitar behind you making you want to sing.
Or that foot coming from the beat, right? And see, and it just feels wonderful. You got all kind of talented musicians, behind you on the stage, and just knowing how bad and amazing these people are in their own right?
Oh yeah.
It's a wonderful feeling to do that rather than just stand on the stage and it's like karaoke.
Exactly. There's something beautiful about people coming together for that one common song or that one common melody and making it happen, and everybody bringing their own personality, but not ego, of course, but their personality to the song and making it what it is together collectively. There's something beautiful about that. It's a language.
Do you travel with, how many pieces? Do you have a live band, and do you travel with them? And
I have bands that I work with when I'm in New Orleans. I have bands that I work with when I'm in New York, and I have a house band that I work with when I'm in Russia.
Okay.
So yeah.
And it's got to be obviously you speak some Russian, right?
Не говорю по-русски, маленький, a little bit, not much.
Okay, well I don't think Denise and I can. I have to speak for myself. Denise, you speak any Russian?
No Russian. I take her word for it. I can't do anything with it.
Oh my God! The fact that you could go over there and I mean, it's got to be wonderful. You know, when you get out of here and you go somewhere else, and say they got posters up about you, you're American, you're coming over there, you know, and then all these people show up that you know you've never seen in your life before. Mm-hmm. How does that feel?
Sometimes I wonder how much do they pay these people to come here. But no, I think it's amazing. It never ceases to amaze me the connection that music can give you to an audience, or vice versa. It's like sometimes I'm looking at people and I'm like, you don't even know what I said, and you don't even know what I'm singing about, but you appreciate it, and there's just, man, that's a feeling right there, an experience right there. That's just, it's the gift. It has nothing to do with you, and it's the gift of music. It has nothing to do with you. It's all about the music, and that's a great feeling too. And I find, not to be partial to other countries and other places, but I find that other places do in the world, that is, opposed to America, they tend to appreciate and value the artists. Even in terms of like the venue owners or the club owners or the bookers or whoever, they tend to, in my opinion, they tend to value the music artists better than we do here on our own soil. But that's just been my experience,
Well, no, your experience, I share it with you because I know when I go to Europe, and like you said, all these people can't even speak your language, but they know those songs, and it's really weird because, over in Europe you'll hear a lot of American music, but over here you don't hear a lot of European music, and that's a shame. That's a shame because, it's the same 12 notes, right? And
but there might be some different time signatures and
of course, but you know what I mean. Basically, because all the countries are so close to each other in Europe, everybody speaks several languages, and we still here trying to struggle with English. You know what I'm saying, right?
Yeah. Yes, this is true.
And so using the number one language in the world, which is music, is wonderful, but we have to introduce people here to all talent from everywhere in the world. And then we have to start speaking the same language, which is music, because once you start playing, once those beautiful melody notes come out, they have no language but one. Exactly.
I find, too, that, because, we don't necessarily patronize as many artists from overseas that we should, I even find that we go overseas more. Like, I remember about a year ago, I was going to an Ivan Neville concert. That's a New Orleans artist, funk, soul, and he's from the famous Neville Brothers family. And the drummer called me. He's like, "Hey, Rock, we're in town. We want you to come down to the show." And there were people from all over the world just camped out, sitting on the floor around the corner. And when you go to New Orleans, unless it's a festival, you don't really see that. But these people were so devoted. They had flown from all over different parts of the world.
Yeah.
And there's just this listener appreciation, and that I find from Europe, that it's really about the music, Some of the music that's coming out now, like from Leanne, I believe her last name is Mahavas, or Emily Sand, or Adele, even Amy Winehouse, when she came out, they've got that soul, but it's not so much about a sexual image or, a fast food image. Like Adele has her own image and her own look, and so did Amy Winehouse and Emily. They all are just unique in their own way, and they're not like some kind of carbon copy of another artist that's already out. They appreciate individuality and uniqueness and artistry overseas as opposed to here, And I find that it's probably a good thing that the majors are dying out, because it gives people a little bit more responsibility and control over their art, as opposed to letting some guy who used to market Jiffy peanut butter tell them what's going to sell records, you know, who knows nothing about music or anything. But he tells them what's going to sell or what he thinks will sell based on what's already sold. So I think the majors dying out is a good thing. And just like we have to have more artists come here, I think we also need to continue going more and more abroad and, you know, broadening our spectrum as to what our audience is, you know.
Well, you know what, the expanding your horizons and everything, just not, you know, music can be used for everything. I mean,
yeah.
look at what we have going on in our world right now. I mean, just since Saturday, you know, just a.
Oh God, that's pretty heavy. Yeah.
Well, yeah,
that's
but
pretty heavy.
But you can get your feelings out about this via music.
Such a beautiful outlet music is. I already wrote a song actually, approximately about 3 weeks ago, before all of this came to a head, and the song is called "The Answer Is You." And I can't wait to get into the studio next week and start getting on that one, because I think the timing is just absolutely perfect.
Yeah.
It's just perfect. And music really does have the power to heal if we would let it, you know. I mean, music is so deep that just on a scientific level, you know, there's a lot that music can do, but a lot of us, I'm not saying all of us, but a lot of us are using it in the wrong way, you know, in the wrong way.
I mean,
I remember when there used to be, you know, griots. I mean, I'm wondering where the modern-day griots are. Where are the messengers? Where are the people who, you know, got something to say, you know,
right.
to the people? You know, Marley was a modern-day griot of his time, you know. These people had messages in their music. They were using that beautiful gift. Music is so powerful.
Marvin Gaye.
Use it in the right, the
Michael
list goes
Jackson,
on and on.
John Lennon.
Yeah, and now we got Nicki Minaj and Lil Wayne. Yeah, they're going to change the world. But let me stop. I don't want to hate on anybody, but I mean.
No, Denise, we heard her. We heard her.
No, I mean it's all about love. It should be anyway, but I mean some things just drive me, you know. But
I mean this. Now you know we got to get your feelings on what's happening right now, and maybe a solution to how you think we can change it.
I think it's not any one solution. I think it's manifold, and it's twofold. It's the outside world, or the others, as some people would say, and then it's the black race in terms of what we've allowed, you know, that there were people that actually fought for our rights, you know, the civil rights movement, that's what it was for. And then a lot of us got complacent, I would say, like in the late 90s to 2000, because we were getting the jobs and we were getting certain opportunities. You know, I guess we thought we had arrived, but there were still a lot of injustices going on in terms of education, economic opportunities. And then I look at I also look at music as a big part of it, because music, again, is so powerful. Some of the music that has gone out has influenced the culture so much that some people think it's okay. Well, I mean, everybody has their own viewpoint on it. But me personally, I don't think that we should be attacking Paula Dean for using the N-word if we're going to romanticize it. Let me just sum it up. I think there's a certain level of personal responsibility, too. I'm not saying that it is Trayvon's fault that it happened. Of course not. I'm not saying it's our fault that it happened. What I'm saying is that over time, we might have been more complacent than we should have been when certain things happened in the past, like with Sean Bell or Troy Davis. I mean, there's been many that happened before this, and we would get upset, we would get outraged, and then we would go back to business as usual.
That's right.
I think the solution is educating your kids, teaching them about your history. We are the only race that we don't have our own language. And on top of not having our own language, we don't have community. We will go patronize another business and give them our dollars, and we are the largest consuming group of people. I read a little while ago that if we were a country, we'd be 16th in the world. By 2015, we're going to be at $1.1 trillion of spending power. That's a lot of influence, especially in terms of dollars, which is what this country and the world recognizes as their language, money. And we don't pool our resources together. We could have our own schools. We could have our own, we could have a lot. So I think, and then there's the issue of colorism, light-skinned versus dark-skinned and all of this crap that we don't even really need. It could be so simple, but we make it so hard. And I think what we lack is community, and what we lack is family structure. I'm not saying across the board, but generally. Those are big points of interest as it pertains to us as a people. I could go on and on and on. As far as the stand your ground laws, you don't like them, get out and vote. How many times do we hear people say, I'm not going to vote because it's not going to make a difference. It's not going to change anything in my life anyway. Well, hey, thanks a lot,
Well, money's power, but it's not. Money has a power in itself, but it's not more powerful than people. And so, like I said, 2014, my prediction, 2014, 2016 is going to be the transformation for women. And so the Republicans, the old boys network, they pissed off women. They pissed off women so much, by trying to control people's bodies and all that stuff like that. Well, there's a backlash going on. But only thing is, they can't just don't talk about it, be about it. So if they all come together, all the women come together, and now we can start getting these fools out of these offices, right? Because they can use all the money they want to. But if you bring enough people out there, the vote is going to put them people out of office. They know that the Democrats don't go out and vote in the midterms, and that's why they tell you all politics is local, right? And so that's why they're going to get all these seats, get all these little mayorships and all that stuff. They go do that in the midterms because they know Democrats ain't gonna go out in the midterm. We got to bring people out in 214 and 216 in order to change the laws that these fools have been putting in since 210.
Yeah, but then again, that's information and education. Some people think that, okay, there's only one major election, that's for the presidency. Let's go vote on that. It's multifold. It's education as well. Half the people don't even know what they're voting for. So we also need to be reading more, and we could be reading more, sharing information.
Denise gets out in these forums, and she brings people together so folk can talk about this. You know what I mean? But she tells me all the time that there's so many uninformed people. It's ridiculous.
And then the sad thing, getting back to the verdict, and the aftermath, the sad thing is we don't even know if racism will ever be eradicated on this earth as long as we're alive. But I still know that there are people in the fight. I know that there are good people. I know that everybody who's of a different race is not your enemy. So even though this is what we're presented with today, we have to also remember that that's not all there is in the world. That's not the only side, of the world that there is, So we have to also look at other people who are in the fight doing things too and trying to affect change. So, but you're always going to have some bigot or some racist or somebody who doesn't like you because of the color of your skin or because you're different or because you're just different from them. So But there's still a lot of love, and there's still a lot of people out there doing positive things and positive change. Like you said, Denise has a forum where people come together and they discuss, pertinent issues, and that's great. Beautiful. We need more of that.
Most definitely, and I think that's a good place to start. I'm a big believer that music does heal the world, and I do believe that music is a healing agent, which is why, it's just so awesome watching a lot of entertainers now, musicians and singers, make these songs in remembrance of Trayvon, or as a way to pull people together, to unify, to unite, and to kind of calm, all of this friction that's going on. So that's amazing, because that's the kind of stuff that's going to take. People have to raise their voice. I mean, it's just not going to change any other way if we just sit back and you said the key. You gave the key just a minute ago when you talked about voting, because some of us are so complacent, and we figure the only time we need to vote is every 4 years when it's time to vote for a president. And we don't worry about what happens, in the interim, in between those times. We don't worry about those things. But that's when a lot of these laws are made, is in between those 4 years.
Yep.
When you got these senators and these congressmen and these people
wasn't it
that
just
you have to
like,
vote for.
Yeah, like wasn't it just like last couple weeks ago, week and a half ago, maybe a little bit longer, I'm not sure the time frame, but Section 4 of the Voting Rights Act of 1965 was taken out.
Yes,
protecting voters' rights, and it's like nobody's voting on it, nobody's talking about it, nobody's even concerned. Well, that's what it seems.
They don't know. I'm telling you this. They've been doing this gerrymandering, all these districts, and where they get in certain places, you get enough people over there, then you can raise up the prices over there, and that'll get minorities out of the neighborhood. See what I'm saying? And now they get to vote the way they want to vote, and they've been doing that all around across the country. Because Democrats, man, we're so wayward. What I mean by that is everybody wants to be the leader. So we got. You know how it is, right? Everybody wants to be, so they've got all these factions, stuff like that. But we don't come together. If you notice, the Republicans, when if they decide everybody gonna say no, I don't care. You can offer them a car, and they would say no. They stick together, but we don't stick together. And if they scared that if we do come together, then they got serious problems, because it's known that there are 50,000 Hispanics turning 18 every month. Eventually, the numbers are gonna flip, right? And that's what they're scared of. They scared to lose control, but they never had control in the first place. The main thing, the United States is exactly what it's supposed to mean: united, all nationalities together. But it's always got to be somebody trying to run it, ain't it?
Well, theoretically, yes, it should be, but it's not always that way, unfortunately.
But we got to. The only way we can, like with these, both of you guys saying that the only power you have is the numbers. Everything is about the numbers, and so if you bring people out in numbers, it don't matter. They can do all the ID stuff they want to, whatever they want. They trying to slow the process down, because if they don't, they can't play fair. How can they play fair? It'll be over. It'll be over for them if they know if they played fair and just let everybody vote. I posted this thing this morning. They want to have this. How about having a national day where everybody can go vote? Just say that's a holiday where people can take off work and go vote. They don't want that to happen.
Now, there's a concept right there. There's a concept.
Oh, it's already out there. I posted it today. Somebody's they trying to get a petition for it. Now, I love that. Take that day off. Everybody got a day off to go vote. They don't want that to happen. You know that, right? So and I'm only saying to you, if you get all the women, if we can get all the women to vote, everywhere, all women to come out, just come out. That's what's going to get them Republicans out of there. At least the crazies, right? You know, you got to get them out of there, huh? The Tea Party people and all. I don't know what's in that tea anyway.
I sure don't know. I just had to unfriend. You know, I tried really hard, and then after this, we're going to go ahead and play some of her music, Freedove's music. But you know, I just had to unfriend. I try to be down the middle as much as I can when it comes to politics, because I have a lot of conservative friends that I want to stay friends with. You know, regardless of whether we see things differently, but you know, I still I value our friendship. We can agree to disagree, but after this this unjust verdict, which was, to me, I don't mind saying, I think it was just seriously unjust. He should have gotten manslaughter if nothing else. But I had one of my conservative friends that I've been friends with for a long time. He sat on my racism panel that I assembled. You know, I have invited him to other things, even though his way of thinking is outlandish. I can't think of a better word to use besides outlandish, what he thinks. And he's a Caucasian. But my problem is, you know, with the Trayvon thing, he comes back and going to try to convince me on my page why this young man deserved to die. When he was not there, I was not there.
God.
There was only three people.
I went to see. Oh man, it gets crazy. I went to see Fruitvale Station last night. It probably
I want to see that.
That's time for me to see that, because you know everything's so fresh and it's a you know, tender wound. But I went to see it, and as I was coming out of the theater, a man was saying to my friend and I, so what did you think of the movie? I thought it was okay, but I didn't think it lived up to the hype. I said I thought it was well done. It was a great story, and I enjoyed the perspective, and I enjoyed learning the story, and it truly happened. So I think it was well done. He was like, well, you know, I particularly didn't. How do you put it? I didn't really care, or I didn't take offense, or I guess he was just I'm paraphrasing. He didn't care when, you know, the victim was shot. He cared more about when the dog in the movie was hit by a car. And I was like, wow.
My God, that is terrible.
Yeah, and back to the Trayvon. I know that's crazy. Back to the Trayvon thing. One thing that kind of burned me, and getting back to our consumer dollars and our money and where we spend it, Zimmerman had a defense fund online. Okay?
Yes.
Let me ask you, where was why did they have to have a state-appointed attorney when we got so many black leaders and so many people who were so concerned about justice? Where was Trayvon's defense fund so that he could get a top? Why did none of our leaders step in and say, hey, this family needs, you know, an attorney that's going to represent them? So let me tell you something. These guys, DAs and district attorneys, prosecutors, and all these guys, when they're state appointed, they might go play golf together. They might be trying each other in courts, but they might be on the golf course together the next day. It's nothing personal. It's just business.
That's an excellent point. That's an excellent point.
You guys said something earlier about picking that jury.
I have a friend. I actually, now that we're on the subject, I have a friend right now whose son has been fighting. Donovan Drayton, who's Ronnie Drayton's son, world-class guitarist, was with the wrong guys at the wrong time. They did something. Donovan had nothing to do with it. In the first trial, all the charges were dropped. The DA created a deal with the co-defendants. The co-defendants testified against Donovan to make it look like he actually did it. There's no proof and there's no evidence. This child was in prison for 5 years for a crime that he did not commit, and they couldn't prove any evidence against him. Finally, after 5 years, he's out on bail, and they want to retry the case. Retry the case. So I urge all the listeners, I mean, it doesn't stop with Troy Davis. It doesn't stop with Sean Bell. It doesn't stop with Trayvon Martin. There are children in the system every day that are being I mean, I'm not saying that everybody who's in prison is innocent, but there are some people out here who are really victims of the system. And if they don't have someone to stand up for them, they just go by the wayside. So, you know, you guys look into Donovan Drayton. go to FordDonovan.com and you'll see the trailer. You'll learn about the case, and I just want to shed some light on that because my brother Ronnie's been in the fight for a while, and I've watched him hold on to his strength and his faith. And it's not just Trayvon; it's happening every day. It's happening to our children. It's the new prison industrial complex. That's the new slavery.
It sure is. It sure is. Absolutely. You hit the nail right on the head. And I'm telling you, we have to do better. These are our children, and I have a young son. I have teenage nephews, and I worry now that they could just be shot down just because they're somewhere that somebody else don't think they should be, and so that's a point of concern for a lot of people. For a lot of people, we got to do something to get these laws changed, and I do think those people like Stevie Wonder and the OJs, I believe, another group that I've heard that are also boycotting Florida, that they refuse to perform there until something is done about these outrageous stand your ground laws.
Denise, you just heard the OJs coming on, you say?
I heard that the OJs are also boycotting, yes.
Oh, wow.
See, if we can get sports figures, a lot of people like that. And you get the college.
Well, you can start with the Miami Heat because it seems to me that, they just won the NBA title. I mean, would that not speak volumes? If they say...
all of that.
Because
you hit their tourism down there, and that's where they make their money back.
But you see, the stand your ground law is now in 30 states. And not only that, you got to look at when Bush was in office. When Bush was in office, he had already put in effect and put in place the Patriot Act. The Patriot Act is for certain things, just like when we had Occupy Wall Street. Nobody could protest. Before you'd be able to convene and join in the park. Now you got to get a permit after a certain amount of people. They are already prepared for public outrage and public reaction. They're 10 steps ahead of us. They already know that the people are awake, and it's going to take it, like you say, it's going to take all of us. It can't just be like 1/3. It's got to be an uprising like the people of Egypt are doing. It's got to be everybody saying, "Hey, this means enough. These are our kids."
You said it right
and that's
there.
That's going to take educating our communities and being able. First of all, the reason why we can't do it or we haven't been able to do it is because we don't know how to come together as a community because we've been so separate and divided with colorism, with the curse of mental slavery. Even though slavery's been gone years ago, we're still looking at each other like, oh, she got more than me, or oh, he got more than me, instead of coming together as a people. So we don't know. I mean, I have Jewish friends. I have Jewish people that I work with, and family and community is number one for them. They understand that that's the most important thing.
Yes.
We don't. We would go out or go into another group before we come into our own and say, hey, let's do something about this.
That's beautiful.
I don't know if it's fear. I don't know if it's fear or if it's conditioning or all of it, or we're just all struggling so hard. Some of us are struggling so hard to maintain that we can't even think about anything else.
Well, that division that was caused, that was brought about during slavery, it never went away. That crab in the barrel kind of thing. I don't want to see you get ahead if you're getting further than me or you're getting more than me, instead of, like you said, coming together and say, because if you get there, if you arrive, then you can come back and tell me how you got there. And help me to reach my intended destination. That's what a lot of these other racial groups do. They'll reach back and bring somebody. Once they get to the top of their mountain, they don't mind reaching back, bringing somebody else up. But
other groups will come here, or other groups will come here to America, and they will make use of the loans and the grants and the opportunities that's been afforded them under the government. Like,
absolutely,
people are saying, well, why do we need to keep affirmative action around? Nobody's using it anyway. Why do we need to keep it around? Nobody's making use of it. That's some people's argument.
Yeah, they could come up with some. But you know what? We definitely want to make sure that we get to some of your music. But if I can say this one last thing before I go ahead and play one of your songs. I'm just reading
we got
here
on it hot and heavy, didn't we?
But you know what? This is needed. I think this is dialogue that everybody needs to be having. And it's good to get it out and talk about it, because then it lessens the opportunity for this stuff to fester and to cause people to go out and do things that they ought not do. But one thing that I'm reading real quick, and then I'll go to a song, is that, and which flashed through my mind when I listened to that juror, that one little happy juror who just had to come out last night and tell her side. She said something that made me think really, really hard, because when she talked about the fact, now this verdict was just given on Saturday, barely 48 hours.
And she's already got a book deal on the table.
She said her and her husband were writing this book. How could she and her husband write this book when she was sequestered and was told not to talk about this case under any circumstances? How would he know a mere 48 hours after this, not even 48 hours, for them to have been able to put together a book that quickly, he had to know all along what was going on, not just waiting until Saturday after the verdict when she got home or Sunday after she got home.
That could be called for a mistrial.
Even before jury selection, but he's an attorney, so they've been talking about this thing even before jury selection. That's one of the things.
And they already knew before Saturday. That's why they were prepping us and saying, okay, well, watch out for, we want to keep the riots under control. We want to make sure we're warning everybody. They already knew on Friday what the verdict was.
Yes. Absolutely.
They just wanted to get all their arms in place.
Hey,
absolutely, no doubt about
that could be called for a retrial. See,
the only thing, the reason they wouldn't do it, Sky, and I'm with you 1,000%. I think they should call it back. But the only reason
the thing is, I just have to say one thing. I follow along what you're saying. Well, it could be that someone actually has a book deal, probably on a synopsis. It doesn't mean that the book is completely written. It could just be a book synopsis, and they're going to just give her a fund.
It's not even that now, because there was a woman on Twitter last night who said this woman ought not be able to capitalize on Trayvon's murder, as a juror. And she said she wanted to start a petition to shut that thing down. And guess what? It was shut down in scant minutes. Thousands of people gravitated to that girl's posting. And within an hour or two, she had 1,000 or so signatures in a petition on change.org, and she and her husband pulled that book.
What it all sums up to for me is that a lot of people, and I'm not just talking about Zimmerman or the juror, I'm talking about on a mass level. A lot of people, I don't know if it's because they've lost hope, but I think a lot of people have just got a savage mentality, and they've lost touch with compassion and that human part of themselves that says, hey, we're just so disconnected, and people are getting more and more just cruel in their way. And I think a lot of it has to do with just like lack of conscience or lack of faith or lack of God or lack of spirituality, because if you have those things in place, it makes it quite hard for you to be a cruel human being. Mm-hmm. You have some kind of conscience or something in you that says, hey, this isn't the right thing to do.
Yeah.
So it's just, I think it's just lack of conscience in a lot of people. I don't know if it's just lack of faith, hope, or tough times or what, but it just seems like increasingly, or maybe we're just learning more about it now since, everything's so widespread with the Internet. It could have always been like that, but it just seems now it's just more prevalent. People are just losing their mind and going crazy.
But that's the only reason, Skyler, that I know that they wouldn't be able to do anything is because of the double jeopardy, double jeopardy to George Zimmerman, and that you can't try a person twice for the same crime. So he,
but
in that case,
you can't try in the
criminally.
same court. You can try for the same. They can get him in civil court, or they can get him in another court. A lot of people think that, but I think you can, in fact, try him in another court.
Well, I hope they try him in federal court, because that's going to be.
I hope that goes too. Yeah.
Because right now,
federally they got more resources.
Well, here's the thing: if we can put Trayvon and George Zimmerman, we're going to look back in history. Those two that's the reason that law is going to change.
But we can't just stop there too. We got to get with our youth, and we got to educate them and let them know their history and let them know what they're capable of and let them know that they are a target and with that they have to be better than everybody else, unfortunately.
That's right.
That they have to be on top of their game, that they have to have knowledge, that they can't just ride through life. They have to really assert themselves and just know who the enemy is, but also believe in their abilities. They can't rest on, and unfortunately, that's just the way it is.
That's
unfortunately.
Right.
Another child. Okay.
We're gonna switch up on you now because now tell us about your music. We want to play some of your music. You know what I mean? And also when we play this, when we come back, love for you to tell people how they can find you.
Okay. So what are we going to play next? Let's see.
How about Rise? Since we've kind of been talking about rising up, so tell us about Rise.
Well, Rise is basically it's pretty apropos for this. It's looking at being able to see the forest for the trees and being able to rise above obstacles and being able to tap into that inner strength and get where you need to get. It's basically an affirmation, this song Rise. And I wrote it with Anthony Mazza and Sandafu out of L.A. So, folks, enjoy it. And I've been enjoying this conversation. I completely forgot all about my music. But enjoy everybody. This song's called Rise.
Okay. Well,
okay.
Bye, Freedove.
I got this feeling that somehow I've been here before. Oh, yes, I'm sure. But I'm not gonna sit here till what remains of me lies on the floor. Oh, no. I've been thinking about making a change. I've been wondering how to find my way. I've been looking inside each and every day, because I know the path will open if I just have the faith. I'm gonna rise up, I'm gonna reach the sky, I'm gonna climb that mountain, I'm gonna fly so high. I'm gonna rise up, I'm gonna free my mind. I know deep inside I'm gonna rise. In this time it may be hard to see the forest for the trees, but hold on to the truth of who you are to be, your endless possibilities, your greatness runs right through you, yeah. I've been thinking about making a change, yeah. I've been wondering how to find my way, oh, I've been looking inside each and every day, yeah, 'cause I know the path will open if I just have the faith. I'm gonna rise up, I'm gonna touch the sky, yeah. I'm gonna climb the mountain, I'm gonna fly so high. I'm gonna rise up, I'm gonna free my mind. I know deep inside, yeah, I'm gonna rise. In my mind there's no question. What is that I believe? What is that I believe? I once was blind, now I see. Moving in the direction of what is waiting for me. 'Cause it's my destiny. I'm gonna rise up, yeah. I'm gonna touch the sky. I'm gonna climb the mountain. I'm gonna fly so high. I'm gonna rise up, I'm gonna free my mind. I know deep inside I'm gonna rise.
sometimes you got to rise and shine.
That's right. That's right.
That was nice.
Time is now.
Time is right now.
Oh, and there's one thing I wanted to say. I was just thinking about when I was talking about Zimmerman's defense fund. I made the tragic error, and I said, "Where was Trayvon's defense fund?" Trayvon should never have had to defend himself. Right. It should. I stand corrected. Prosecution fund. I've been hearing that so much that it's just become commonplace on my tongue even. You keep hearing people say, Trayvon defend himself, because that's actually what he had to do. He had to defend himself post-life rather. And he never had to defend himself. He should, his case should have been prosecuted. So what I meant to say or should have said was, where was Trayvon's prosecution fund? Just like Zimmerman when they had one in place.
The judge wouldn't let him bring up race. Now,
wouldn't? Oh yeah.
Okay, I'm only saying, they got 52,000 people in there in Sanford or something like that, right? And the trippy thing is, it's like, where is anybody with some color in that town? Now, his father lived there. You mean to tell me you couldn't get somebody with some color on the jury, right? And that was the craziest thing to me. Now, what happened? Now, Crump. I think I'd rather Crump put on a better show than what the prosecutors did. They went along with the defensive their theory. They went along with it. Okay, yeah, he was on top of them. Are you kidding me? They didn't really fight. And even if they did, their acting job.
And that's why he should have had private attorneys, and he should have had a prosecution fund in place.
I think you would have had a better
job. The National Action Network, not after the fact, come on in and say, hey, these people need help. This is a pivotal case, a pivotal point in our history. Let's do something about it. Let's come to these people's aid. Let's stand by them, not just with our fist in the air, not just with, hey, I disagree with this, I'm outraged. Yeah, those are words.
Right.
Those are words.
Well, I tell you what, I hope. I just really hope Eric Holder goes after that law. Use Trayvon, yeah, but go after the law. Go after that law. And now that you got Stevie Wonder, I'm telling you, if you start.
How many more of us is there going to have to be? We're starting to get a list. We're going to have a memorial now of Sean Davis's and Sean Bell's and Troy Davis's and Trayvon Martin's and the countless and nameless others. Is that what it's going to? I mean, do we want to build monuments of our black men, or do we want to? What are we really trying to do here?
It's time, like I said. We have to rise. Just like that song you're talking about, it's time to rise, right? We get all the women, and we can get all the women organizations, forums, all get together, right? There's a lot of men that would join you. If just all the women came along, they'd knock them Republicans off. Let alone some men supporting the women. I think it's time to happen. We go. How beautiful is that? We go from a black president to a woman. that shows a little change,
Yeah, I mean, I honestly, I don't really care who it is as long as the policies are benefiting the people and they are actually there to serve the people and not their own agenda.
Well, I'm tired. I'm tired of the same old. I'm tired of watching the same old movie. You know what I mean? What?
I hear you. So I guess you're Hillary. 2014, right?
I like progress, and that's progress.
Yeah.
I mean, right now they hate Obama because Obama, even with all those roadblocks they putting up, he's making history, right? Imagine if they got out of his way.
Yeah, a lot of it too.
Imagine if they got out of his way, we'd be rocking and rolling, and then, now you can't say, well, we tried a minority, but it didn't work.
One thing I would really like to see Obama do before he leaves office, I do applaud him. I'm not trying to be an ingrate or anything. I love the work that he's done since he's been in office, but I really wish he needs to, because it's really the crux of the economic crisis, that part of it that we're facing. He needs to address the educational structure and system and get our children some doggone good schools and good teachers and good reading and make them excited, help them find educators who are going to make them excited about learning again. He cannot leave office without taking care of that educational system. And what they did to schools in Chicago and what they're doing in Detroit and in New Orleans is just ridiculous. They have schools boarded up in New Orleans with books in them that children could be having access to, you know, filling their brains up with knowledge. You know,
go to YouTube and pull up.
We would need a whole another hour on the whole educational thing.
Go to YouTube, you know? And pull up George Carlin, right, the comedian.
Oh, he had a famous skit I used to love. It was called NIMBY, Not in My Backyard.
Okay, but check out this one.
He was addressing the issue of homelessness in America.
Yeah, check him out. He got one called was The Real Owners. He talked about the real owners. It's not the politicians. The politicians are there just to make you believe that you got a choice, right?
Yeah.
All right. But go get the one to talk about the real owners, because he tells what it is. They don't want people to be smart. If you're smart, you won't buy none of their products. So that's the way you get them people out of there. You go, if you stop working for them and stop buying their products, they'll come back down to earth. All right. Hey, Rock, thank you so much for taking the time today, okay?
Yeah, I wish we had another hour to cover all this stuff. I tell you, it just flew by, but it's been my pleasure. Thank you so much for having me here. And maybe we can do it again. Yeah, I loved it.
Thank you so much. And can you give our fans your information, how to find you?
Oh, definitely. My website is www.freedove, Freed like David, OV like Victor E.com. You can find out where I'm playing. You can have links to my music on Spotify, Rhapsody, iMusic, iTunes. It's all there. Also on Facebook, it's facebook.com, Freedove Music. And the website again is freedove.com. So it has links to everything, all the social sites and how to contact me. And, again, it's been a pleasure. I loved it.
You.
And, Denise, it was so nice meeting you, since I never got to meet you in person. Yeah.
Yeah. Wonderful. And you got great music, so we hope you'll come back eventually.
All right. You guys, thanks again. Have a blessed evening, and peace.
Peace always. Talk to you soon.
Good
night.
Okay, bye.
Soon. Bye-bye.
Cheers.
All right, but that wraps up tonight's broadcast. We certainly hope that you have a great week, and we will see you back next